A look back on some of the greatest late-night hosts, from Carson to Colbert.
How he found time to come by here, I'll never know. Don Rickles.
Cover it all with a stolen construction tarp and cower under the stained vagrant's lean-to of news that is my segment.
Hosting late night is no easy task. Through decades of The Tonight Show and The Late Show and so many more, let's look at who was the best to take on the job. On April 28th, James Corden announced that he will be leaving The Late Late Show following its 2023 season.
I've decided to sign for one more year on the show, and that this will be my last year hosting The Late Late Show.
Corden has been with the CBS show since 2015 and has created iconic segments like Carpool Karaoke and Crosswalk the Musical, which take not only television but YouTube by storm. Corden states that he loves working for The Late Late Show and credits a joyous working environment. But after a year of going out with a bang, it's time for the next adventure. Perhaps a return to Broadway, or a rise in film roles.
Here, you're not watching a signal beaming.
Though Corden's announcement is the most recent, he'll be joining a renowned group of retired late-night hosts. Hosting late night is an arduous task. The skill set required is like no other. Hosts are typically comedians, with a monologue to open the show. They need to be able to maintain their charisma throughout the episode, and they need to be skilled interviewers. In many ways, being a late-night host is a bundle of many jobs in one. The greatest hosts leave their mark on the program and the genre as a whole, but there comes a time when each host must step away, relinquishing the desk to the next jack-of-all-trades. Let's look at some of the greatest.
It's seen at 8 o'clock tomorrow. He's a nice guy, fine actor. Would you welcome Mike Landon? How's your little house on the prairie?
It's just fantastic.
Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show. The Tonight Show had been airing for about a decade when Carson took the role of host. Late night was still a relatively new genre, and Carson was credited with shaping the genre into what we know it as today. Carson and his legendary counterpart, Ed McMahon, stayed with The Tonight Show for an incredible 30 years, working nearly every night to shape late night into a mixture of the then-standard talk show format and our modern understanding of the late-night comedy. Carson set a high standard, knowing how to interview, being respected by each of the guests and comedians on the program, and incorporating bits and skits into the show.
Yes.
Do you think you'll be reelected?
Maybe close. I hear the opposition is very strong, has a very strong candidate, someone named Ronald Reagan.
Carson hasn't been a late-night host for decades, but many still credit him with being the greatest. Jon Stewart.
New York's new mayor isn't the only thing about New York City that is freakishly tall.
The Daily Show. Although Jon Stewart was not the first host of The Daily Show, he is definitely the host that made the show his own. Stewart had a tendency to combine his comedy with political commentary, and the political nature of Stewart's hosting became a significant identifier for what The Daily Show is about. Not only did Stewart's political comedy provide laughter in uncertain times, but it also showed viewers how they should react to news that they would otherwise struggle to grapple with.
Fish pizza is not only not better than New York pizza, it's not pizza.
Conan O'Brien, Conan. Though he is the show's namesake and hosted for over 10 years, Conan is by no means O'Brien's only late-night experience. O'Brien also hosted Late Night and The Tonight Show, to give him nearly 30 years of late-night hosting experience.
Looked down at my face and went, "My brother's a big fan of yours."
Sad at this point, we got to get it out of the way. In the interest of, again, truth.
Truth.
He was no stranger to late night or comedy when he started hosting, working as a writer on both Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons.
Big star on TBS.
That would be me.
Oh my God, you're one of the impractical jokers!
During his time on SNL, O'Brien worked in improv with fellow comedic genius Bob Odenkirk. As a host, O'Brien differed from his predecessors with drier, more self-deprecating humor.
Cast member, and I remembered I said my favorite's Kevin Nealon because he's really dry and cerebral, and I remembered Lorne just nodding his head and clearly thinking that is not the answer I wanted.
Conan aired its season finale in 2021, but O'Brien is by no means done making his mark on television.
What do you think of? Probably a big bird that people eat while arguing with their family about whether or not gender's a spectrum, right? Yeah?
Trevor Noah, The Daily Show. We know that Jon Stewart shaped what we know as The Daily Show, so when he stepped down from the hosting position, he left big shoes to fill. Trevor Noah was a successful stand-up comedian.
What is the name of this land? This land over here? This is called India.
But there's no guarantee that his comedic prowess would translate to the late-night format. Once he got the hang of it, Noah brought something special to The Daily Show. Noah was born in South Africa, and, following in Stewart's political footsteps, could offer a unique perspective as an outsider looking in. Noah's comedy has helped countless Americans through the 7 years he's been hosting.
Follow-up, what's the biggest thing you have in common with your predecessor, Sean Spicer?
I hate to do this.
Seth Meyers, Late Night. Another SNL alum, Meyers has had plenty of experience in comedy and late night, both writing and hosting the Weekend Update. When he stepped into hosting, that comedy followed him. Meyers knows when to drop a quip or lean into any joke material, and he shines when he interviews fellow comedians.
Jay's gone.
Gone, yeah.
Johnny's dead.
Yeah, that's true.
He knows comedy well. He knows when good material is coming and how to make it pop. But he can be serious, too.
Ivanka Trump saying that she did not believe her father's claims of election fraud. Former President Trump said that she, quote, checked out of election results. Though, to be fair, that's just what people used to do after an election was over.
His lengthy interview with comedian John Mulaney following Mulaney's return from rehab was genuine and emotional, with Meyers' very real care and concern for his friend shining through.
To be your friend, and I'm very happy to be in your presence. And this year, I was lucky to spend a lot of time with you, and it was a real roller coaster, but I'm very happy you're on the other side of it. I am so happy for you and Olivia.
David Letterman, The Late Show.
Creepy when said by John Malkovich.
I put my jammies on all by myself, Mommy.
David Letterman has experiences regarding nearly every significant late-night talk show. He's hosted Late Night and The Late Show, and was penciled in to become Carson's replacement on The Tonight Show before the job was ultimately given to Jay Leno. In his 30 years of late-night hosting gigs, Letterman brought a younger audience wherever he went. This is due in part to his tendency to host alternative musical guests, and in part due to his overall personality.
Alice in Chains. Here we go, kids.
Letterman was more eccentric than other hosts at the time, and acted as a contrast to the other personalities in the genre. John Oliver, Last Week Tonight.
And seem appealing until you take a closer look. Much like the lunch buffet at a strip club, or the NFL, or having a pet chimpanzee.
Last Week Tonight is different from the traditional late-night show in a handful of ways. First, the series, as the name suggests, airs weekly rather than daily throughout the week. Second, there are hardly any guests or interviews on the show. But it isn't entirely different, as the shows carry a lot of similarities from The Daily Show.
What have been more off base if he tweeted, net neutrality is the Monroe Doctrine, will target the Wu-Tang Clan.
Which is to be expected, as John Oliver worked as a correspondent on the show before he got his own series. When Oliver guest hosted The Daily Show, viewers and critics alike felt that he should have a full-time hosting gig. While people considered which series he should take over when the current host departs, Oliver ended up with a series created just for him. Last Week Tonight is more broadly involved in late night, as it is less a talk show and more political and news satire. Oliver's comedy does not inhibit his political messaging, and Last Week Tonight can be credited with actual change and influence over the social and political climate.